Welcome to this Thursday New Zealand Oil policy announcement. Today, it's a really important one for your family's food and for this country's well-being and for the fishing stock that was once so plentiful off our islands. There are many New Zealanders who are coming across the NZLoyal video announcements and content for the first time. We would encourage you all to watch previous announcement where we've covered many areas of concern to New Zealanders, and there are a lot of areas of concern now leading up to this 2023 election. This policy overview is really like a signpost giving you an idea of the direction we want the country to head in, and that does not include into the hands of the globalist parasites. We have previously stated that we believe all resources of this country belong to all the people of the country. We don't believe any race, organization, or other entity should prevent the people from accessing their resources, and nor should they exploit those for their own selfish ends. If you have not done so, please watch those announcements at nzloyal.org.nz and please share them far and wide. Places like Facebook are trying to limit the reach of our announcements every single day. People who are sharing those announcements are often finding their reach is cut down. This amounts to election interference, and when NZLoyal gets into government, we will do a full investigation into the part that Facebook may well be playing in limiting free and fair elections in New Zealand. So we ask you to share them person to person, often by email. That is a very effective way to bypass the terrible levels of government censorship. You see, NZLoyal is speaking truth to power, and as a result, we're not getting invited to the club's events, and nor are we getting media coverage like some. But that's fine. We don't need those merchants of agenda-driven propaganda, because we have you, the people. And that is the most powerful force. As with all our policy announcements, before we formulate a policy position, we discuss the subject with those who are directly involved and who have been deeply affected by it. Have you heard this quote? Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach a man how to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. It comes from the Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu, who was the founder of Taoism. At one time, that was true, but with the wholesale destruction of our marine resources here in New Zealand, this has almost become a thing of the past. What has been a favorite pastime for many years has become a very difficult and at times rare undertaking. Quite often you can fish from a wharf, and at the end of the day, all you might catch can be a cold. So let's examine what is going on with New Zealand's fisheries. There are approximately 700,000 people connected to recreational fishing in New Zealand. This number includes the fishermen themselves. It includes suppliers of equipment, of fishing equipment and associated services, and feeder industries. Back in 1986, the quota management system was introduced in New Zealand. It was designed, they claimed, to protect our marine resources, a noble sentiment. However, as with all other government initiatives, there's always an underlying catch, and that pun is intended. Just as an aside, what else happened in 1986? Do you know? The final nail in the coffin of the democratic process here in New Zealand, when a bloodless coup against you all resulted in a cemented corporate entity that took over this country while pretending to remain for the people. More on that in future announcements. Legacy has done remarkable work within the marine environment, providing valuable information for educational purposes for all of us about what has really gone on in our fishing industry. And at this point, I ask you to take down this website address, view the information that it contains, and share it with others. rescuefish.co.nz. A video presentation you can find on YouTube called The Price of Fish is also worthwhile viewing and will support the information you'll find on rescuefish.co.nz. There's a particular piece of note from the Rescue Fish website, and it states, "There is large-scale dumping occurring in commercial fisheries. A 2016 report of New Zealand's catch between 1950 and 2010 conservatively estimated that 14 million tonnes of fish were dumped. That is enough fish to feed Kiwis for 125 years. Just think about that as you struggle to buy food for your family. Most of this wastage is thought to have occurred in the deep water fisheries using foreign vessels. However, some was occurring inshore. Investigations by government officials revealed some inshore vessels were dumping between 20% and, get this, 100% of quota fish caught in every trawl. And despite that evidence, no prosecutions were made. Further, in 2014, the Director of Fisheries Management acknowledged that discarding, that is dumping, was an issue that officials had not been able to overcome since the introduction of the quota management system in 1986. The director was quoted in an independent report as saying, "We estimate that if we found the golden bullet to stop discarding, we would probably put over half of the inshore fleet out of business overnight." It's just shocking. During our research and talking with a wide range of fishing experts, we found that dumping has proved to be an insoluble problem for quota fisheries in New Zealand and overseas. It is an inescapable outcome of managing fish stocks by quotas and measuring only what is landed at the wharf. So let's solve that problem, shall we? No more quota management system that allows the wholesale destruction of the people's marine resources. Simple. It was. That's the solution. As simple as that. The resources do not exist to supply multinational corporations with power over the fate of those resources. No, the resources exist for the sustenance of the people to whom those resources rightfully belong. The resources belong to you, to us, the people of New Zealand, or they should. Upon viewing the material provided and conversing with several actively involved people, we at NZLoyal were quite simply astounded to hear of the corruption that exists in our New Zealand fishing industry and how management quotas were assigned. Basically, in the lead up to the system's implementation, back in 1986, there was what I can only call a free-for-all on fishing to boost catch numbers, as the quotas were going to be based on previous catches. And also from the reports and rescuefish.co.nz, 78% of all quotas is now owned by 10 entities. They form, yes, a powerful lobby group who influence management decisions when it comes to our fisheries and who ensure maximum catch levels, which of course deplete vulnerable New Zealand fish stocks. While consumers can pay up to $40 a kilo for fish in the supermarket, what a ridiculous price for an island nation. While we pay that much if we can afford fish, occasionally, huge quantities of New Zealand's fish are exported for less than $3 a kilogram. Around 90% of all commercial catch is exported. Hence, we need onshore processing to create value-added downstream products, which will be a net gain for our economy. This, of course, directly impacts the recreational fishermen, the suppliers, and the feeder industries. So let's go now to NZLoyal solutions for the fishing industry travails and problems. Firstly, bottom trawling will be banned within the 12-mile limit by a NZLoyal government. There shall be no exceptions to that. Bottom trawling is highly environmentally destructive. It as an activity has absolutely no place in our sacred New Zealand waters. Secondly, only recreational fishermen, longlining and fishing charter businesses will be permitted to undertake fishing activities within the 12-mile limit. Thirdly, the quota management system as it stands will be completely scrapped, and along with it, the corruption that has so totally plagued it. Fourthly, only those who hold commercial permits will be able to fish the marine economic zone. The practice of leasing permits to third parties will be absolutely abolished in this country. Fifthly, onshore processing, where practical, will be made law. Sixth, a real and viable solution will be applied, including aquaculture activities, with all stakeholders having their input. Remember, NZLoyal will be a government that listens to the people, and it is high time that we listened to the recreational fishers and the small fishing industry people in New Zealand. They have been ignored for decades, and they know what's going on. As mentioned, a very good base on which to start is the alternative proposed by Legacy, without the woke language and race-based applications, of course. That can be left out. The issue I see here is the fact people who genuinely care and have the knowledge to create a very workable solution that we can all live by are, as I said, ignored by government, with only lip service paid and a promise one day to do something. And so a fisherman waits. And yes, those who want to know about the commercial operations, there is a place for commercial fishing operations that could supply a large populace, but any such operation must be carried out with a complete avoidance of any environmentally destructive and wasteful practices, with avoidance of any depletion of our fishing stocks, and with absolutely zero corrupt practices. What we want to see in a NZLoyal government for our fishing industry in New Zealand is the abundance of our marine resources returning, and with people like those from Legacy and other associated parties, we stand for the very best chance of seeing that occur sooner rather than later. Our children deserve to go out with you, the fathers and the mothers, and enjoy a day fishing with plentiful fish off all our wharves around this country. Please check out that website, rescuefish.co.nz, and please, again, I say, watch that video, The Price of Fish. You will be horrified, you will be alarmed at the information contained therein, and you will, as I did, wonder why these common sense, practical solutions that we offer here have not been taken seriously and implemented. They are in that film. As always, nothing is ever done by these government entities or corporate entities by chance. Sadly, everything destructive at the moment from this government is by design. It's been stated that the war waged on humanity to serve the depopulation part of their ghastly Agenda 2021 and Agenda 2030, it's been stated that it would involve war and starvation and disease. Well, look around the world. All three are currently in play. And if you look at all the legislation here dealing with resources and access to those resources, not one bit of our current legislation is designed to benefit you, the people of New Zealand, or provide you and your family with the ability to truly flourish. Nope. It's horrific to think that it's all designed to inhibit you, to restrain you, and ultimately to squeeze and to squash you and crush you into compliance. What kind of a government or an opposition endorses and is okay with that? You see, a self-reliant population is completely unable to be controlled. That is what they don't want. By contrast, we do. And NZLoyal will deliver that freedom because you, the people, demand it. And because we are loyal to you above all, and we are never loyal to those that would hurt you.